All right, welcome back, everybody. Still there. Let me explain something. You guys are streaming the daylights out of that song. The only problem with streaming, please keep doing it, is that it's almost nothing do we make off of that.
A few cents.
I need for you to download it. Download it. All of that money is going back into J6. We're not making a penny off of it. All right. Speaking of J6, we don't ever not cover it.
Let's bring in the two lawyers. One is a recovering lawyer, and one is the Secretary of Retribution there. That would be, of course, Stewart Rhodes and Ivan Raiklin. Actually, first of all, Ivan, I call it's not retribution to me. It's the Constitution. If we would just stick with the damn Constitution, maybe
Department of the Constitution.
Exactly. All right. Now, everybody knows Stewart's the main oath keeper, and he's only been commuted along with some 14 Proud Boys and oath keepers. And that's just not good enough. So let's get right to, you guys have been at the new Jan 6 committee hearings. And I talked about this last week on Real America's Voice when I was on the morning show. They're trying to reimagine, for lack of a better way of saying it, blame you guys, the Oath Keepers and the Proud Boys, instead of Donald Trump, which none of you should have been targeted in the least. You were innocent people talking, trying to keep the peace, as Trump was too, compared to Minneapolis, which is insane. But right now, they're trying to almost justify the fact that you guys are only commuted and not pardoned. So explain that.
Right. So, I mean, the left, of course, goes all the way. They say that Trump is, the narrative from them is still from Jamie Raskin and Moskowitz on their panel, communists from Florida. Their line is still that Trump, led an insurrection and we were his lieutenants. Ricky Chario, leader of the Proud Boys, myself, leader of the Oath Keepers, led our troops to go attack the Capitol. And so we expected that. And I sat in the front row of the guest section with Ivan, and they immediately attacked me, of course. But what surprised us was Troy Nehls, a Republican from Texas, from my home state, parroting about 90% of that false narrative. He channeled his inner Liz Cheney. And he just said, oh, yes, President Trump didn't have anything to do with it, but those Oath Keepers and Proud Boys did. That was the militias, the Proud Boys and Oath Keepers, and Stewart Rhodes himself. Said that if Trump doesn't fix this, we will. And so he directly endorsed and adopted 90% of the big lie being pushed all through 2021, all through ever since then, through the J6 Select Committee of 2022 in our trials. So it's really bizarre to watch a Republican basically throw not just all of us J6ers under the bus, but even President Trump. I'm still a co-defendant, along with Ricky Chario and other Oath Keepers and Proud Boys, in two civil lawsuits, one filed by Benny Thompson, February 16, 2021. It's still ongoing. Members of Congress suing Trump, Oath Keepers and Proud Boys, alleging a conspiracy to overthrow democracy and disenfranchise black voters. And another one by a bunch of Capitol Police officers making the exact same nonsense arguments. So he's not helping President Trump. All he's doing is going 90% of the way. And I'm sure Jimmy Raskin is thrilled to have his cooperation with that.
Of course.
They'll be like, hey, thanks a lot. So if and when the Republicans lose the midterms, you can expect them to impeach Trump again, and they'll quote Troy Nehls. Look, even a Republican agrees that there really was an insurrection. So it was really bizarre and perverse to watch a Republican attacking us.
I want to add one thing.
Hold on a second, Ivan. Hold on a second.
Hold up, this is really important. The lawsuits against Stewart Rhodes and the president, those are coming from U.S. Capitol Police officers, which means the general counsel of the U.S. Capitol Police is probably squarely in the middle of advising them, the number one target of who needs to be investigated, and all of his work product and communications need to be scrutinized, meaning General Counsel Thomas DeBias.
Yep.
He is the deep state of the deep state at the U.S. Capitol Police, so we need to continue to shine a light on him.
Absolutely.
And they just, of course, got a plaque saying how great they are. But we were showing them for years how they lied under oath. And then they go back and said, well, in the case of the Oath Keepers that were in the Capitol with Harry Dunn, how he was like, oh, gee, thank you so much. And then he goes and testifies against them. I mean, it's insane what's going on.
Pause. Hold on. I want to say something here. I remember the day that Troy Nehls went into C2B. And he alienated every J6er that was in there. Every one of them, Mr. Nehls. because of your behavior and your attitude toward those men. They haven't forgotten that. What you're talking about, Stewart, he's absolutely being used by the left.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And the thing is, they cleaned up C2B.
But this is not some new move on him.
No.
He's been doing this since his little book signing visit that he made to C2B.
And C2B was cleaned up. And I actually wrote him an email that afternoon saying, don't you realize you were played here? And he goes on John Solomon's show that afternoon and goes, well, it did sort of smell like Clorox. And they tried to backtrack on it a little bit.
But this is not new from Troy Nehls.
Yeah.
Troy Nehls has never supported any of these J6ers.
Yeah.
And so he's not going to want a truthful committee.
He walked in and said, any of you here who are being charged with assaulting a police officer, I'm not here for you. That's what I heard he said.
That's paraphrasing. It was even worse than that.
But the thing is
He's not
also
even addressing that no one got due process, no one got a fair trial, no one got any sort of due process
Doesn't care.
procedure.
Yeah. Go ahead.
Well,
What did you say?
No, well, the thing is also, they don't show you the 44,000 hours because you guys have a right to defend yourself in many cases. If you're attacked, you have a right to defend yourself. Little old ladies getting pushed down the steps.
Yep.
People who... Go ahead.
I was going to say, President Trump knows that. Mm-hmm. That's my point, is that President Trump said these are hostages. And President Trump said in his Meet the Press interview, he said, of course they pled guilty. A man is offered, he said, it's a dirty system. He said, I know the system. It's a dirty system. A man is offered 2 years, take a deal and you take 2 years, plead guilty, or you'll face trial and go to prison for 30 years. So, of course, he was defending that they pled out. A lot of them did. Mm-hmm. So it's bizarre to have the President of the United States understand the truth, understand that we were hostages, that we were being, political pawns trying to get us or trying to get him through us. And why is Troy Nehls so clueless? Why can't he understand that?
I just think
he's not clueless.
But they live in the swamp.
That's his narrative, man.
But out of everybody on that panel, Harriet Hageman did the best because she wasn't there. She took Liz Cheney's place, thank God, in Wyoming. So she doesn't drink the Kool-Aid. She hasn't lived there long enough to get all the crap going on in the D.C. swamp. Yeah. She looked at it from 1,000-foot view, and she was the only one who called it out. And God bless her for that.
Clay Higgins did too. Clay Higgins did pretty good too.
Yes, Clay Higgins
calling out the feds. But sadly, though, both of them, along with all the other Republicans, seem to think that it really is Brian Cole as the pipe bomber. They're accepting this.
Yeah, that's so stupid. It doesn't even register. We have said countless times on the air. We've said it to Congress people that we've interviewed, and while you guys were still in prison, well, at least while Stewart was still in prison, we said all they want to do is testify before Congress under oath. That's all we want to have you guys do, and they avoid that like the plague.
Yeah.
Right. If I was recommending to this new subcommittee to Barry Loudermilk, I would directly tell him your next hearing must be Stewart Rhodes as a witness, Enrique Tarrio as a witness, and Jeremy Brown as a witness. Those three individuals are going to lay out to you the entire weaponization scheme going into January 6th, on January 6th, and then after January 6th in a clear rebuttal of the entire 10 hearings that were conducted by the in coordination with the CIA's own staff director, David Buckley, Nancy Pelosi, Jamie Raskin, Liz Cheney, and then the general counsel of the U.S. Capitol Police. Those were the individuals that set the frame to weaponize illegally, unlawfully, with manipulated doctored CCTV footage and testimony of U.S. Capitol Police. Those three individuals, Stewart, Enrique, and Jeremy, will rebut the entire operation. So you might want to have that hearing, Mr. Loudermilk. If not, you're going to get a lot of, let's just say, First Amendment activity and lumens of light facing your direction.
And there's a reason why these guys were pardoned.
When we get back after this break, you guys, I'm going to tell you who else needs to be there the next day testifying. This is J6 coverage, as sick as it is.
We'll be right back.